Hey, Jason here. I just got done doing the power window repair on the C3, and I realized I really didn't do a great introduction to myself or the car, so we're going to do that now. I got this vehicle about a year ago, summer of 2023. It was a very good deal. It was an older gentleman that was selling the car. He kind of lost interest in the vehicle. I think he got his use out of it. He was having a hard time getting in and out of it, as well as his wife, and his son had just bought him a brand new, beautiful Toyota, I think Tundra. So he was really in love with that and just looking to get rid of this car. It wasn't really being kept up with maintenance. It wasn't really safe to drive either. So yeah, I got a great deal on it. I took it down to my mechanic, who's an old Chevy mechanic, and he, gave the car a good workup, and that helped with the negotiation for the price. The guy also at the time needed his house painted, and I was working on some house projects, and I had been working, and I have worked on a lot of house projects and had a really good painter who I passed that work to, and then kind of took a finder's fee for that referral, so that was part of the negotiation as well. I'm not going to say the exact number, but it was a good deal when it all worked out, with the repairs the mechanic mentioned, plus the trade for some help with some work on the guy's house, and just classic negotiation. So let's take a look at the car, and I'll go over some of the work I did, maybe give a few more tips about things as well related to this particular C3. So there she is. It's a white, I forget the exact white color, and red interior. 1977. So these tops on the car, they're glass tops with a blue tint and a mirrored surface, and these don't actually come on this car from 1977. I think it's from like an 80s year, and it was retrofitted on here. So when we took it to the mechanic, he actually didn't know that, and he thought that maybe the bird cage was a little tweaked because these tops didn't quite fit. The seals were a little bit off. So someone that has a 1977, you might see the difference, but there's two pins there and then one handle. There's not a second handle to take these off. I really like these. Let's see, I did crack them, unfortunately. I was taking them off, enjoying the T-top off, and stored them behind the seats. There was just the tiniest little bit of pressure on this corner because I had a bunch of other stuff in the seats too, or behind the seats too, unfortunately. And it caused some hairline cracks here. They're not very noticeable, but I do notice them, and so I am in the market for new tops if I can find them. Trying to avoid buying them brand new. The condition of the paint is fairly good. There were some chips on the car at the time that I worked on patching up. I'm not going to paint the whole car. It's a driver. I park it next to other cars and drive it on the highway and even the interstate at times. So I'll show you a few of the touch-ups. Like there's one. The clear coat actually is what caused this kind of shift in the white color, and so I'm going to probably redo that at some point and maybe go lighter on the clear coat, or maybe even leave it off. There's also some other chips I filled in on the hood. Let's see, one is there, one's there, and one there. They could be filled in better, so but they look a lot better than they did, being completely chipped when I got the car. So that's maybe another project. to do a second round of filling and painting on those chips. Of course, you all saw yesterday we fixed the power window. The knob for this lock I do have, but I'm not sure why. I think it doesn't stay on. And this door lock, the inside clip which keeps it in position is gone. And I've tried putting an aftermarket clip on, but I could not get it in that tight space to clip. So I really don't even use this door lock. I'm just taking a little bit of a risk, but I don't really take the car a lot of places. I just take it downtown mainly, and sometimes across town in the evenings for different activities. Let's see. So the car gets very hot. There's no AC in the car. And one of the first projects I did also was take this insulation wrap. You can find this at the hardware store. And I took the carpet up and I lined the whole floor board and up to the firewall with it to help keep the heat from roasting your feet in this car. The exhaust runs underneath the seats and it gets extremely hot. Also sealed up some of the holes in the firewall where like wires and things come through to kind of prevent some of the hot air from coming in. And then we also did a bypass on the heater core. And that made, I think, the most difference on kind of the hot air kind of moving from the engine into the cab. So that's here. You've got your coolant coming out of the engine and into the heater core, and then coming back into the engine. And this bypass kit from Amazon, these brass pieces, I think they're 5/8 and 3/4. They, you just turn them on or off and use this U return to bypass the coolant and send it back into the engine instead of into the heater core. And in the winter, just opening these back up if I want to send the heat back to the heater core. So that's a great little easy DIY job. Moving on, the fuel pump, I had to replace that after I purchased the car as well. I was smelling gas and seeing puddles, and this had a lot of leaks, so it was hard to know exactly what all was leaking at the time. But after fixing, well, let me go back a little. So one of the big issues when I got the car was the transmission fluid was almost empty and it wasn't keeping transmission fluid. There was a bad leak, in the under the housing for the transmission. So my mechanic took that off and resealed the transmission. And we also did front end suspension. So the wheels were tilted in and they were very unstable. So that we took care of, and then I found an older alignment shop that could do the shim alignments on the back and the front of the car. That's another tip. You can't just take this car to any place that does just alignments. Anywhere you see advertising alignments for newer cars, it's you want to find like an older shop that has an older mechanic that can work on shimmed vehicles. So yeah, so we got that transmission leak taken care of, and then noticed that there was a fuel leak. So swapped out the fuel pump with this aftermarket pump. This is really like a no-name brand pump. It was pretty cheap, and I wish I had spent more on a brand name pump, because I suspect that I have still some fuel, or I have some fuel delivery issues. I have to pump the car about 4 times to get it primed to start, and then I've got to let it sit for a bit. I call it getting the juices flowing, to get I think the fuel pressure in the system where it needs to be, where I can give it gas and it not stall out. So that is, I think that's a fuel issue. I don't think that's a carb issue, like where the choke is adjusting as it heats up. Let me pull this filter off. I do play with the choke quite a bit to try to figure out where it works best at different times of the year, different temperatures. That needs to be replaced. It's split. So I've messed with the idles just a little. I don't want to mess with them a lot, but I have adjusted this the choke spring in here to change where this sits when it's cold. So I have it right now there where it's got a little bit of opening, and to do that, this is not an electronic choke, it's just a manual. So I take these 3 screws loose, don't take this off, and just turn it slightly, which changes the tension in the spring that changes the starting position of the choke. I believe here in the summer the starting position I keep mostly closed, and in the winter I open it up some. I feel like it starts better open. At least that's how I recall from last winter. But I do have to still, like I said, let the juices kind of flow for a minute, give the car some RPMs and get the gas pressure up and the engine warmed up some. The car had a really bad squeak also when I first got it, and that was very simple. That was just, increasing the tension there on the alternator so that belt didn't slip as you increase the RPMs for the when you're literally just putting a little bit of gas, it would slip a little. It was pretty bad. I think that's everything under the hood to show you. So the next thing I did was I installed rock lights. The battery's behind the driver's seat. I have power going to here, this little bundle of tissue there to kind of hold everything firm so it doesn't move around. I then send out power to different lights. I have 2 on each tire, on the front and back side of the tire. 1 in this vent, the side vent here. And 1 at on the frame of the car. And these rock lights, they usually screw in to the car, but for these I screwed in these super magnets with a hole in the middle. They come like that. Just ordered these on Amazon, and they grip really well. This is kind of like those kind of similar strength to those magnets where you put a key under your car. You see this blue wire is actually Cat 5 cable I use to make some of my own custom extensions for the lighting wire. I found it hard to get the exact type of connectors that the kit came with, so just kind of made my own. There's a light on each floorboard and a light behind the seats. Again, light on each tire, a light underneath the back of the car, underneath. While we're here, it's just a fun decal I found, which I thought fit well on the back of the car. And of course, I also forgot to mention that the name of the car is Leia, Princess Leia. It's a 1977 white Corvette, so it just felt right the first year Star Wars was released. And there are also 2 lights in the engine. Let me go ahead and flip the lights on. I installed a switch, which is just a light switch. It works, nothing too fancy, just to toggle the power on. But then I also have control of the lights. Once the switch is on, I can turn them off with my phone or change the colors. They're RGB, or also there's a key fob. And I typically like to use the red color on the car. Sometimes I think it looks really nice with kind of a purple ultraviolet color. It's very bright right now, so you really can't see kind of the effect, but it creates a really nice red glow here in the cab, and of course on the car itself, and especially at night. And then there's also 2 lights in each of these grill vents, and they're kind of facing upwards, so that, you know, when you don't have the headlights on, sitting and, you know, leaving the car parked, you can see like a glow of red inside of the whatever you call those, the light bays and those seams. So it's really fun. I grew up in the 90s, so I was in high school like in the late 90s, early 2000s, and that was a very popular thing for people to put lights on their cars, to show them off. And so this is kind of my style, I guess. You know, mixing this classic old beautiful vehicle with a little bit of my more modern but not quite modern style. Let's see if there's anything else I'm forgetting. That's just a fun magnet that I found, to kind of help share what year this car is. A lot of folks I see walking around it and trying to figure it out. It's been a lot of fun to own and drive. Of course, you know, friends and folks like to go on cruises, but folks around town love to see this car on the road. I love keeping it on the road and showing it off. It gets a lot of positive attention. I have a great mechanic that helps with a lot of the bigger work that I can rely on, and I'm trying to keep it maintained myself. So, you know, I love to meet folks in the area. I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, that, you know, also like these older cars, especially the C3s. I'm looking to learn from other folks. Also looking to kind of join folks to sit in parking lots and do these shows around town. You know, there's a lot to learn about these vehicles, so I'm just now getting into it myself. So yeah, if you are in the area, coming through the area, going to the Dragon, shoot me a message. And before I end this video, because it's kind of a pain to splice 2 videos together, let me just do one moment to think of if there's anything else that I'm missing or forgetting to detail about the car. My keys actually got accidentally taken today, so I don't have them to show you, but I have some really fun key rings on those that fit the car really well, that I could tell you about maybe some other time. But I do have this cute bobblehead. I've got something similar on my keychain. But yeah, we'll wrap there. So that's the intro to the car. I'll do one more quick walk around. And sometime I'll put up a night video to show the lights off.